We're good?
It's good.
You know what I'm saying? Go with Jimmy.
Well, hello, happy Sunday. Welcome to season 2, the premiere of season 2. I am so excited. Right now, I am sitting in Urban Haines Suite RVA here in Richmond, Virginia. I'm so grateful for Kelli LeMore for hosting the first live episode of Chats with Chelsea. And as you all know, tonight's special, it's truly going to be an intimate conversation with me. And I am stoked to be switching seats, but to have the other Chelsea, who is a radio personality. She has a podcast. She's active here in Richmond. But most of all, you know, we met and we became friends. And so I am excited for tonight. A little nervous, to be honest, but excited. And I hope that each of you walk away with just knowing a little bit more about me. So I'm handing it over because this is kind of my show, but not my show. But there's a Chelsea running this. So Chelsea, welcome to Chats with Chelsea.
Thank you for having me, Chelsea. Chelsea with an I.
That's right.
I'm Chelsea SEA LeMore. But thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and it's going to be a great evening. Don't be nervous. Have a drink. Have a sip.
Sip.
Urban Haines Suite. Thank you.
Yes.
And we're going to get right into it. Lemony. I like that. Ooh.
Mine is honey.
Honey.
It's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like me.
I was just getting ready to say sweet like you. So, one of the things that I really wanted to impress upon people, like you said, we met the first time, and we've been friends ever since. I told her we were having lunch, and I said, I just need you to know that we're friends from here on out. You're like some people, you meet them, and you're like, you know what, they're so sweet, and they have genuine positive energy. And so that's what I want to lead with. You're an amazing woman, and I can't wait for other people to learn about your amazingness and fabulousness. And I kind of want you to start with your upbringing.
So, from Jacksonville, Florida, born and raised there. I was born to 2 teenagers. My mom and my dad were teenagers. And my mom got pregnant with me when she was 16. And for the first 5 or 6 years of my life, my father was in prison. I remember growing up on the north side of Jacksonville, off of Moncrief. I like to call it the urban core.
Urban core. Is that the new word for hood?
It's my word for hood.
Urban core.
It's the urban core. You know, everything happened there. I mean, you know, we had police, firefighters. They were always there. And so, you know, grew up for me, like, over this past year, I've just really kind of been faced more with my why, and why do I do what I do, and, you know, just different things. And I just think about just growing up and seeing the other kids around me. And, you know, it was just me and my mom,
right.
For several years before one of my younger brothers was born. And, I mean, I still remember her walking me to the bus stop, being there to pick me up. And that just was not the case for so many of the other kids around me. I mean, they may have been raised by their grandparents. Their parents were either in jail, on drugs. And it just stood out to me that, you know, I'm here. I've always had leadership skills. I don't like to say bossy, okay? I've always had some leadership. And I just, you know, I was never afraid to speak up for other people. And so I've always wanted to be able to advocate for people, to truly be a voice for the voiceless, because I saw them living around me. You know, this is not something that I read in a book or I saw on TV. You know, I've lived in this and saw people. I remember our next door neighbor, she would always have the latest car, but she would always also get her behind beat like every other day. And so hearing that and just all these different dynamics, have contributed to where I am today and how I view life.
So, one of my favorite radio personalities, Charlamagne the God, says that the craziest people come from the Bronx and all of Florida. The whole panhandle, y'all crazy. How did you escape that craziness? What was it? What point in your life did you realize the woman that had the new car, but that was getting beat on, and that environment that you were in, you said, I want something different? And when did you realize that maybe I'm special? And what do honing in on whatever that gift was that would propel you out of the urban core?
You know, I would say it was kind of throughout my childhood. Two of my favorite shows, in one, I don't want y'all to like look at me crazy, but it was the Cosby Show. Well, don't look at me crazy for both of them, actually. The Cosby Show and Seventh Heaven. I just love
Seventh Heaven.
The big family together, because between my three parents, I have 8 younger siblings, and so it was like all the kids in one house, everybody together, mom and dad there, and I didn't have that. In my early years, my mom did later remarry, and so with that, I saw that there was more than what I may have been seeing around me through those TV shows. I was able to see that, and I was able to know that I wanted more. I wanted more for myself, and I wanted more for the people around me. And I don't know what I can't really pinpoint it, but I knew there was. I can't even say I knew, but there was something on the inside of me. If you would have met me as a 6 or 7 year old, I would have told you that I was going to be the first African American woman president of the United States, because I literally wanted to change the world. And you were not going to tell me otherwise, because I felt that I could truly be a change that people needed to see, and be a change for the people who are in the urban core. You know, so many times when we talk about change, sometimes I wonder if it's an inclusive change. You know, because when I think about change and the things that I want to do, how I want to empower leaders, you know, the people I really want to reach are the people in the urban core. Because just like I got out, I believe that each one of them can get out. I believe that no matter what their circumstances are, what they've been born into, what mistakes they've made, that it's not the end until they take their last breath. And so, you know, that gets me going. That propels me to want to create a talk show, create a blog, to serve people, to develop people, because I saw firsthand what hopelessness will do to a person.
So we jumped right in, but you're quite an accomplished young woman. Quite humble, might I say, because if I had quite the accolades, I'd be like, hello, my name is Chelsea LeMore Esquire, okay? And you will call me as such. But kind of give people the background. I'm going to let you say it. If you don't say it, I'm going to say it. So go ahead.
So I am, by training, I'm an attorney, licensed in the state of Florida. I have served in government for several years. I've served in government, nonprofit, corporate. I've helped lead global teams for an organization that had 70,000 employees across 70 countries. I've led teams. You know, in government, I've served as senior advisors for local officials as well as for statewide officials. I ran for local office in Jacksonville and won, and became the youngest elected female in my city's history. And I've been involved in politics. I've done campaigns for local candidates, statewide candidates. I've helped some senators get elected, United States senators. And so, I mean, I'm also a pastor's wife.
Ooh, child, now there we go.
So, I mean, those are some of the things about it. You know, sometimes it's hard to talk about yourself.
Well, you did skip that. You skipped kindergarten, because, you know, I got my bachelor's degree and I felt like I did something. I said, girl, you skipped kindergarten? They got to know you special to skip kindergarten. Like, it's one thing to skip 6th grade, but to say, you know what, she's so advanced before she even got here, we're just going to go ahead and skip you ahead. I think that is amazing. And I think that it's really important. I know you say you're uncomfortable talking about yourself, but I think that this is the time for Black women especially to pipe up. Okay? Be a little less humble. You know what I'm saying? Let them know. Okay? I was so impressed by just, one, your spirit, as well as the credentials that you have to back it up. Because it's one thing, sometimes you meet a woman and she has it professionally, but personally she's very ugly. Or you meet someone that's very beautiful on the outside, but they don't have that much going for them. So to meet someone that has where the two worlds meet is really refreshing.
And I must say, Chelsea, that has been a process. Because So I moved here to Richmond 3 years ago to marry my husband, John.
You better segue, because I was going to ask.
So, Tuesday will actually make 3 years since I moved here. And it's been a process. I mean, I moved I'll just focus on these last 3 years. I moved my entire life to a new city. It was a decision that we made as a couple. I believe it was the best decision for us, for me to move here. But it's been tough. And in that, though, I think that I have come closer to this. I've come closer to a point of knowing who Chelsea is. Because as I think about my upbringing, that was such a loaded question, with so many of the different dynamics of having siblings from 3 parents, and just so many different things that occurred in my childhood, there was baggage. And there's still some baggage. I mean, that just doesn't go away overnight.
I'm the bag lady. You know what I'm saying?
And so it continues to be this journey, and I'm very grateful for the compliment. I mean, I give all the glory and praise to God, because if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't be sitting here doing great things. I probably would have been out in the streets. Who knows? You know.
You would have had a new car though.
That's so behind.
The new car. A new car that's so behind.
And so this is just, my point is, this has been a process. You know, it's been work. It's been failures. It's been embarrassments. It's been having to eat the humble pie and apologize in situations where, you know, honestly, I didn't think I should have to apologize, but I've had to learn that to be a leader requires you to do something different. Right? That's why we're so short of leaders, because everyone wants to do what's comfortable, and they want to do what they've always done. And to be a leader, you have to be ready to do things that you've never done before, things that you don't want to do, and things that you're just quite frankly uncomfortable with. And I just had so many of those moments since I moved here, from my professional life, just to personally, to being married. I mean, I moved here to marry my husband, and so it's like I'm in this new world. I'm here with the love of my life, but marriage in and of itself is work. You know, we look good online.
Everybody's head went like that.
Okay. I mean, you look at our pictures. We look great. I'm blessed to have a great marriage, but that great marriage has taken work.
Right.
You know, it's taken nights of us sitting up talking and saying, you know, we're not going to go to bed until we work this out, and we understand who we are, where we're going on this issue. And so it continues to be a journey to love who Chelsea is, so that Chelsea can in turn do what she feels she's called to do, which is to inspire and lead other women.
And in leading other women, I know you were just talking about defeat, and sometimes taking a moment and apologizing or humbling yourself when you feel like you may not have necessarily been wrong. And a lot of us can relate to things don't go as planned. Right. Or you think something's going to work and it doesn't work. How do you use what you learn to empower women? Because your platform, Chats with Chelsea, is about empowering women. What are some of the things that you learned along the way as far as defeat and advice you would give to other women?
So one of the things that's big to me, and this is personal, and people will see this differently, I believe transparency is key as a leader. Vulnerability is key as a leader. But yet in that, I believe that you can be transparent, you can be vulnerable, but if you're missing some wisdom and some common sense along in the process of moving from your defeat to victory, you can find yourself in this place where you become lost and confused. And so this is my main thing that I try to focus on, and it's taken me some years to get here, is that I want to share my defeats. I want to share my victory, but sometimes in my defeats, I don't need to make that public until I've worked through it, because
the ridicule that comes along with it.
Well, for me, it's the fact that I'm not stable in my situation. If I'm working through my defeat, should I have accountability partners? Yes. I'm talking about out there in the public, and it's not a public issue. Sometimes this is my perspective, that leaders sometimes put stuff out there too quickly when them themselves, they haven't worked through it. Right? Like, if I'm broken,
Girl,
how am I going?
you might be talking about something else.
How am I going to go how am I going to go help another broken person to really be who they're called to be? Because I don't want them to continue to be broken. I want them to be healed. And so it doesn't mean that my life is perfect, but in certain areas we need to be, as leaders, work through some things in private, so that it's not that I'm not going to come back and tell my story, but it's that I have that wisdom that if, you know what, if I'm on the floor boo-hoo crying to God, right now may not be the time that I need to be standing up in front of 10,000 people, because I need to be good.
It's almost like that concept of not pouring from an empty cup.
Come on.
You got to be able, you have to have something to give in order to fill someone else up. So, yes.
But I that's really important to me, just for leaders to be mindful of that. Like, don't back away from transparency and vulnerability. But use wisdom in that, because then what happens if you don't use wisdom? You end up hurting more people. The people who are following you become hurt.
And they feel deceived.
They'll feel deceived, and they'll be like, hold up. I was listening to you. I was following you, but you haven't helped me out of my situation. Because how can I help them out of my situation when I'm still going through my situation?
Very insightful.
Just life lessons.
So we were talking about, you say you've been in Richmond 3 years now? 3 years on Tuesday?
On Tuesday.
So of course we're in the Urban Hang Suite.
Yes.
Which is the most Richmond place you can be.
Yes.
So tell me some of your favorite things about Richmond.
So the way that John won me over to Richmond was restaurants. I love to eat. I'm currently on a new workout plan because since I moved here, I've gained over 20 pounds. Don't judge me. Some people say it's love weight. I told a friend today I want to keep the love and lose the weight.
Okay. So I must have been in love my whole life.
So he won me over with the restaurant scene. So we love to try new restaurants, new foods. I am involved in the junior league here. I'm involved in my husband's church. He's assistant pastor at the church that his dad founded 29 years ago next week. And so, so I've been getting involved, learning Richmond, learning the culture. It's very different than Florida. Let me just say
How
that.
so?
Richmond is, I believe that from what I know, Richmond has grown so much, and it's we're at this place where there's individuals like Kelli Lemon, like yourself, who are using your platform to elevate truth about race, culture, and I believe that Richmond is at that place where, we can go straight and like hit it, or if too many voices get in the mix, we may be a little off,
Right.
But I'm excited to see what's going on. I mean, just the restaurants, the businesses. I love Richmond because I do feel that it is a town that's like love and culture and art and like family. Like once you get engaged, as I've like started to meet people and get engaged, it's been like, oh my gosh, this is one big family. And so yeah, it's different, but I like it.
I think that Richmond, as a Richmond native, is in the process of redefining our own culture and meaning and history. And so, especially African American, I feel like I may be biased, but African American women are leading the charge and change here in Richmond, like Kelli Lemons and my aunt Anjali Moon with Africana Independent Film Festival. And I think it's important for women to feel that they can rewrite and change the trajectory of what has happened into what direction you want to go, and how to create the space and ultimately change yourself and your mind to go a different direction in which you feel is positive. Which for me, it kind of correlates with one of the programs that you worked with mothers. Your mother was a young mom, and so you found a way to give back. So to change the narrative of, the stereotypical teen mom, and then to take that and empower it, and create a platform, your platform, for young moms. Tell them a little bit more about that program.
So everything that I do is under Life with Chelsea. And so under Life with Chelsea is Chats with Chelsea. It's the new online boutique, and then it is the LWC Foundation. And with my foundation, it's super, super special to me is the Mother to Be celebration. And so last year was the first year.
Okay.
And it had been something that had been on my heart literally for 5 or 6 years when I was in Florida, and I just chickened out. And last year it was just really heavy on my heart, and I was so, talk about afraid and nervous. I mean, I'm still new, and it's like, put on an event. I mean, I don't even know any, mothers to be at the moment. All these different things were like flooding my mind, but I decided to do it, and it was successful. We did a donation drive, so people were able to donate cash through the Amazon registry, donate items. So we had a ton of pre-loved items. There literally was there was a baby boutique of clothes, accessories, and each mom walked away with a basket of essentials and one large gift. So we did a stroller, a bassinet, a glider, and the moms were nominated. And there was one who was actually outside of Richmond, but it was for mothers in need, and it started off just for teenage moms in need. And then as we started getting in the nominations, it was like, okay, teenage moms, obviously, especially to me, as you said, because my mom was one, but there are mothers just in need. And so we just focused on mothers in need, and it was amazing to see it all come together, to see it happen. And there was a teenage mom there, and another teenage mom that we blessed a little while later. But it was the fact for me, I thought about my mom, and when she got pregnant with me, she was given the option to abort, and she said no, and so when we talk about life and the value of life, I'm a living example of your circumstances, again, don't have to determine, where you end up in life. And so I thought about my mom, and she was shunned when she got pregnant with me. She didn't have a baby shower because it was unpopular in 1988 to be a teenage mom and pregnant. It wasn't
no 16 and pregnant on MTV then.
Right. It wasn't all the. Okay, that's a whole different thing, but we're not gonna go there. And I heard about there's YouTube channels,
There's
girls
all kind of things. Okay.
Yeah, my husband's a youth pastor, so the youth were telling me about it, and I said, what? A youth? The girls getting paid to get pregnant at 16?
Oh no, that's new to me.
Oh yes.
I'm 30 and you still couldn't pay me to get pregnant. For pregnant. What the?
But she was shunned, and that bothered me, because I know that when my mom made that decision to have me, that she made sacrifices. I finished college. I was able to, go to school, go to college, go to law school, and so I just wanted to find a way to honor other people like her, because no matter what their situation is of how they got pregnant, the baby's coming. And so there's another life that's coming in, and I want to at least be able to give them some basic essentials. And then we also did all of our games were centered around topics, so like breastfeeding and close sleeping.
So it's educational again.
Knowledge is power. So yeah, and we're doing another one this year. So you all be on the lookout for more about the 2019 second annual Mother to Be celebration.
Oh, right. So it's interesting to me. What I love is that even with your Christian values, which most would consider Christian values to be conservative, you're able to look, I wouldn't even say look beyond, but to coincide that with understanding the perspective of other people.
Absolutely.
How do you think you have been able to do that?
I think life has taught me that. If you would have met me maybe 15 years ago, I was this overly zealous new believer in Christ. I'm grateful for that season in life, but I'm more grateful for where I am now because God is love. Jesus died because he loved us so much. And it's, who am I to think that I'm greater than Jesus? And so I believe that I don't have to agree with someone's lifestyle to love them, to be their friend, to serve them, to develop them, because Jesus would do the same thing. And it's not me who, it's not my place to be on some pedestal, some podium, to feel like I'm greater than them, I'm greater than, or their sin is greater than my sin. I sin just like somebody else's sin. Their sin may look differently, their sin may be outward, but I believe love, and it's by the grace of God that I'm here, and that I know Christ, and that I can share his love. And so it's been a process, but it's as I've spent more time with God, as I've been in so many different unique situations and having to minister to people. I have family members who have been in prison. I have someone really close to me right now who's in jail, and if I think about some of the ultra conservative evangelicals, it's like, oh my gosh, like they committed this crime, that's where they belong. No, people make mistakes.
But the thing is, those are the people that need the love the most. Honestly, when you think about it, the people that have their backs turned on them or have been judged, those are the people that need love and acceptance and tolerance the most.
Listen, I wouldn't disagree, because my job is to love. My job is to love. God is the one who will change somebody's heart. And that was a really big thing for me, was that I had to learn that I'm not the one who's going to change somebody's heart or change their decision. My role as a believer, as a Christ follower, is to love. And then love, and sometimes that will come with some education again, but that's where wisdom and how you approach people is important, because you have to know where a person is. I think sometimes people, Christians, we get in our head, for instance, I'll give you an example. Oh my gosh, that young lady's skirt was too short. I know the Lord wants me to go tell her well, actually, I don't know that the Lord wants you to go tell her that, because do you know where she is in her walk with Christ? Has she even accepted Christ for you to be telling her about a skirt? If you don't want to look at the length of her skirt, turn the other way. Like, stuff like that bothers me, but I have to be honest, I was that person at one time. Like, I thought that, things were by the books, and the Bible is the Bible, but how we live that out and we show love to others, that you can't put that in a box, because every person's going to be different. Their struggle, their, what they're going through.
Right.
It's...
You don't know, that might have been on the skirt she had. Why are you judging?
Listen, I'm right there.
But I also think too, that also ties into the culture that we're in. Just because a person is perceived away by you doesn't mean that they don't know God or don't know. It's like they say, women that wear a short dress, she was asking for it if something happened to her. A woman can know God, walk with God, have a great relationship with God. She just like to show her legs. Guilty. May have been talking about myself. It was a testimony. My bad. It was on the altar of my heart. My bad. I thought I needed to elaborate on that. But I think that it's really great. And you're empowering women, not just here, but globally, and giving women a platform. And it's important especially for women, to not judge other women. We can be so hypercritical of other women, especially black women to other black women, which I find really crazy. Really, really crazy. And I think it's really important to, I find it interesting because I said, Chelsea, we met for the first time, we're friends. But Chelsea and I we couldn't be any more different. Besides our names are Chelsea, we're very different. And, usually I'm very outspoken, borderline ratchet, sophisticated ratchet as I call it. But I think it's important, usually people like myself feel judgment or feel like we need to hold back when we meet people that are deemed to be religious or something like that. So I think it's really important for people to, the first thing is you're a woman, you're a black woman, we identify on that level.
Absolutely.
And so women, there's this interconnectivity between us that no matter your religion or your political stance or whatever, we relate to each other. And for people to always remember that. So with the platform that you have, Chats with Chelsea, what is a way that you the goal of the show to bridge that gap?
Absolutely, because, you know, I did an example. I reached out to someone here in Richmond. I was like, hey, I want you to come on Chat for Chelsea. And as a pastor's wife, as someone who talks about God, you know, because he is the essence of my life, it is, you know, she responded. She was like, I'm very interested, but I'm not religious. And I responded back to her. I said, it's okay. I said, even though a good portion of my audience may be religious or Christians, I have everyone on my show because for me, I think one of the things that sometimes we miss in the church is educating Christians on the diversity in the world. Like for me, I don't want my kids to grow up in this, I mean, they probably will be in a little fishbowl because they'll be pastor's kids, but I don't want them to grow up in this fishbowl of what the world is, right? I want to teach them the Bible, but I don't want it to be that the first time that they heard about X, Y, and Z is from their classmate at school. And I think that so many women in the church, they, you know, it's like, I only watch this show. I only listen to, you know, pick up this magazine or watch this show. And it's not that you have to infiltrate your life with, you know, things that are like totally out there, but you need to be aware. And you want
to give them a touch of the inner core. That's what it sounds like to me. They need to have a touch or have a knowledge of the inner core.
I think they need to have a knowledge and an awareness because as you were touching on earlier, just the culture we're in, how I think that I do, because I have, you know, this is not biblical times. We got Google, we got phones, we have the TV, and so there should be an awareness that I have so that I can minister to other people, so I can teach to other people, even if it's not something religious. If I want to teach you about business development or marketing, I need to understand what's out there. And so in that, with Chats with Chelsea, it's about empowering women, and for them to understand the leader on the inside of them. And I believe that for so many of us, we can method of being able to find that is by seeing the other different things out there. So you know that you're not alone and you wanted to, you know, start this food blog all about soul food or whatever it is, and that we as women, we don't have to put ourselves in silo, and then just as Christian women that we can be aware of what's going on, and that's not a sin. Just because you see something, that doesn't mean you have to participate in it, but you should be aware. You should be aware as a person so you can be able to help other people. You should be aware as a mother so you know what's going on. You should just be aware. And I think, you know, a little small part of my calling is to make sure that women in general are empowered, but also that Christian women are not walking around here with this invisible blindfold on their eyes about what's going on in society and what's out there.
So, Chelsea, you have so many things going on. What I really think is awesome is your new boutique.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your boutique.
So, the LWC boutique launched about 2 weeks ago. It is all things inspirational. And so, there's some Christian-based stuff, but there's just like some super inspirational things. Like, there's a Hello Beautiful line. There's a Sis, This Is Your Timeline. And each of those collections, those lines, when I put them together, designed them, it was for the woman out there who is at this place of, I know that there's a leader on the inside of me, but I need that daily reminder, you know. So I want women, when they go pick up their Hello Beautiful mug,
text me, call me, give me a shirt, remind me.
You know, there's t-shirts with that as well. Or they go pick up their journal. I love journals, and so there's so many different journals and books there. And the best thing about it is that the proceeds go to my foundation. And so, because I want to, last year there was 5 moms that we were able to bless. This year I hope we can do 7 or 10 moms. Like, I really want to make sure that we are empowering those moms and we're giving them that love and that comfort they need before they bring another baby into this world, another life into this world, and to be able to support them. And then it will support the other initiatives of Life with Chelsea, the foundation. We're looking to expanding what we do this year and focusing on actually financially working with other women-focused organizations.
Okay. So how can they support the boutique?
LifeWithChelsea.com. You will find my blog. You'll find the link for Chats with Chelsea. You'll find the boutique. You'll find out about the Mother to Be celebration. And actually later this week, we'll be launching a new website. So I'm really excited about that.
Ooh, a lot of tricks up your sleeve, girl.
Yeah, well, just trying to reach the people.
Keep it modest. Just doing God's work. Okay. So how can they keep up with you besides the website, your social media, anything like that?
Social media, yes. So on Facebook and Instagram, you can follow me at Chelsea H. Bennett. That's ChelsiH Bennett. And I'm on Twitter as well. And there I'm sharing all things life, women empowerment, a little touch of faith. I may get back into politics, but we'll see.
We'll be waiting for it. Esquire. That's cute. I told you I would be putting Esquire on everything. Picking up my coffee from Urban Hang Suite. The name's Chelsea Esquire. Appreciate it. It's been really great. Hopefully you weren't in the hot seat. It wasn't too bad.
No, you made it so fun. This is why I need another Chelsea, because you
Okay,
just...
because at first I said, are you sure she wants me now? Chelsea 1000.
No, I'm so grateful for. Thank you for being willing to do this and to allow me the opportunity to share.
Oh, well, I was excited to even be a part of it. I think what you're doing is awesome. I think that more people need to know about it. And of course, it's always great when you meet other women, and that backstory is really important, because you can say, for example, I love Oprah. I love Oprah's success, but I love the story behind Oprah's success as well. So people, when you can identify with some part of someone's life, and you have to identify with all of it.
Right.
But whether it's growing up in the inner core or being the first in your family to go to college, there's something that you can connect with someone else. So I think that the show is awesome, and I really want people to know about Chats with Chelsea and all the great things that you're doing, supporting the community, especially considering you're new to Richmond. So the fact that you're new to Richmond and the first thing you were thinking is, how can I give back? That says a lot about you.
I'm here to serve.
And slay.
And slay. And I think some of the audience members said that they wanted to ask.
Yes. Any questions?
Before the interview, they said they wanted to ask questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, with everything that you have going on, how do you balance all of that and ministry?
So that has evolved. Honestly, that has evolved. As I shared, we're newlyweds. Because according to Google, that's up to 4 years. So I have a whole nother conversation. Okay.
In other words, she's still accepting gifts.
Gifts, yes, gift cards, vacations, dinners. Okay, let me get that balance. This is when I think about, we hear that term work-life balance and what that looks like. I like the concept of, for us as women, it's a blend, right? Because when you're talking about balancing something, it's like I'm giving this time, this much time. And sometimes for my husband and I, we are having, we're having couple time, but we also may be on our computer doing something for the church, right? And it has become this thing of, how do I successfully blend all these things? Because you're absolutely right, also have a consulting firm, all the different things we talked about, the ministry, and it can be a lot, because at the end of the day, these are all demands. Oh, let me not forget about the fact that I have to wash clothes, clean the house. May not be my favorite thing, but
you gotta be a wife.
I have to be a wife, and it was tough in the beginning, because for 26 years of my life, it was all about Chelsea. And then here I am, and someone else is now a part of this priority of my hierarchy of the things that I'm responsible for. And so it was challenging. And so what I would say is, to someone, to answer your question, balance can be so tough, but I think that a blend of incorporating different parts of your life together. Obviously, when you go to work, you need to go to work, right? I'm not saying bring your kids to work or something like that, but in the areas that you can, think about blending. How do you incorporate, ministry with time with the family? How do you incorporate ministry in your Saturday walk? How do you incorporate it so it's not all the time I'm choosing one or the other? Because I believe that in different parts of our life, we can have a good portion of what we want.
Any other questions?
Where's the church located at?
We attend Cornerstone Baptist Church. It is in North Chesterfield. As I was sharing earlier, next Sunday is the 29th anniversary of the church. My father-in-law started it, and my husband's the youth pastor. So we do youth and young adults.
Come and give a praise and worship.
What's a guilty pleasure? Like,
Ooh,
that
you
one
better.
thing. No.
Now you know I'm out of tea.
not, first of
Yo,
all,
look at that.
Chelsea with the SEA. I'm not asking like you spilling your personal, but do you watch
Spill it.
reality TV? Do you know, like binge on
The
chocolate?
unexpected.
Do you text and drive? Like give me
Do you
something.
wear a short skirt?
Yeah, like give me something.
Yeah, no, I love that question. So some guilty pleasures is one, I love chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Oh.
And I can like eat a whole gallon of that. I love, now I'm gonna have to go there tomorrow. John, if you're watching, we may need to go there. Carytown cupcakes. I will eat like a whole batch of those, a whole dozen of those. Reality TV, not so much, but I was a huge Scandal fan. I like me Greenleaf. I will watch Law and Order SVU
Oh, yes.
24/7. I was actually watching it before I came here. It's just like I've probably seen all the episodes, but I love it. Yeah, and I love sweets. It's been.
I see you said the ice cream and the cupcakes back to back.
It's been a struggle because I'm on this new workout plan that I started last week and eating healthier, and I've been watching my sugar intake. But Kelly, sometimes I don't win at it, and I end up with some gelato or something.
I don't know how it got here. Just gelato.
It just shows up, huh?
It just shows up.
Right. Anyone else?
I got a question. Since being a pastor's wife, do you ever feel pressure from the church as far as like your endeavors outside of the ministry, or is that a thing for you at all?
Pressure. So one of the things that I believe for me that was a benefit, two things that I believe was a benefit, was that when I was back in Florida, I was very involved with my church, right? In the churches that I went to. Two, when John and I got married, he had been in ministry as a pastor for probably about 7 or 8 years. And so we both came with like this understanding of how church works, and it was actually different because I'm from a non-denominational background. We are a Baptist church, and that was different. And so I wouldn't say that there has been pressures, because I'm super grateful that one of the things for us, John has always put our marriage first. Marriage is before ministry, right? And so if that breaks anybody's heart, we still love you, but we got to be good at home so he can do what he does on Sundays. And so in that, he has been super supportive of everything that I do with Life with Chelsea. I mean, this is a part of my calling and what I'm called to do. And he has been the one who has helped me understand that are there probably some pressures out there? Like, I mean, let's be real. There's some things, some expectations, but he's helped me to realize that, one, I'm his wife, right? I married him as John, and he happens to be a pastor named John. And that I have to be who God has called me to be. And so, yes, the pressures exist, but we work through some of the expectations. And sometimes it's, okay, John, this is how I feel about an issue, or this is how I feel about how something is happening. How do we best move forward as a family, right? Because again, he's a pastor, but we're also a married couple who attends the church, and so it's how do we move forward together. And so we work through it.
Amen.
And I just I like to be me, because for so many years I put myself in my own little box, of not only church but just life. And for me, my box was because I was so broken from things that had happened to me as a child, sexually, to the fact that I think I overcommitted to that thing that black people have to be 2 times as better, right? I'm not saying that it's not true, but for me, I overcommitted to that I didn't give myself time to live, I was elected at 22, and so I was already in this spotlight locally and nationally, involved with different things, and I sometimes I look back and I think, I don't want to say I grew up too fast, Chelsea, but I missed some steps, and it's been in like this 3-year period of moving here where I'm out the spotlight, I'm not on CNN, Fox News, doing all those things I used to do, writing for Ebony, that I've had to be faced with just my brokenness, because I could have continued to walk around and things seemed good, but I had to address the fact that when I first moved here, I got depressed. I had to address the fact that I suffer from insomnia, and I don't know what's I'm believing God for a miracle. I've tried 4 of the 5 grades of medicine, so I don't, I've had to work through that of who am I? What actually defines me? Is it being a pastor's wife, or is it the fact that I'm Chelsea? When I'm sitting on the couch, looking a little not put together,
with your gallon of ice cream.
With my gallon of ice cream, my feet propped up, hadn't got a pedicure in a while, all these things. But so I've had to face those things because just being in this new place, and so it's been an incredible journey. It's been painful. I've lost friends. I've gained friends too, like you. And one of the other things that I've struggled with lately is that my hair started falling out, and for a while I wasn't sure if I had alopecia because that runs in my family. But all those things were like warring on the inside, and that's just the stuff now. And then I began to think about the things that happened to me as a child, whether it was because I did something or because somebody else did something. And so I've really had to work through those things to get to this place where other people's expectations, I don't allow those to define me. I kind of went on a tangent, but you brought
powerful.
You brought something up, and it's so. If I could say, as we're closing, I know we were closing like 10 minutes ago, to the women out there, it is, as leaders, you can be great in the boardroom. You can be great, sitting at the table. You can be great giving your presentation. But one of the things that I really want to focus on this year with Life with Chelsea is our mental and emotional well-being. If you have issues, go see a therapist, right? There are certain things that your best friend is not going to be able to help you through. Your mom may not be able to help you through. You're going to need some professional help. And we can't be afraid of that, because again, as I started our conversation off, like if you're super broken, even if you're on the top of the world right now, it's gonna come down. And what you're really made of is going to show. And my prayer and my hope is that whenever, because we all have defeats, we are going to be ups and downs, that's life. But my prayer is that when any of us as women leaders fall, at least with the Life of Chelsea family, from the things y'all will learn, is that when we fall, when we are defeated, it doesn't seem like the end and we're broken in pieces. But that comes from healing and addressing things. And so it's just really been a passion of mine, because since you and I had our chat to prepare for this, I've really been faced with thinking about my life. And thinking about why I do what I do, or why I've done what I've done. And it's just become so clear to me, Chelsea, that I couldn't run from my past. And so there's been several nights. I mean, you got a long email from me one day after the service. She was like, "Child, it's gonna be okay." But there's been nights over like the past few weeks where I've just been up and I've been thinking. and it's like, you know what, that situation happened, and I can't ignore that. Like, I've suppressed that, but that happened to me.
Right.
And I need to address that because I don't know what other woman I'm going to encounter that I may be able to help. But again, I can't help her if I haven't been able to help myself or have someone help me.
Right. Yeah, I did get an email. I said, girl, it's okay. She sent an email. She's like, I want to make it. Was a long email. At least for me, it was a long email.
Oh, I was going to say, it wasn't that long.
I don't really read emails. I do a quick scan. And I scanned it, and I was like, I hope she's not offended, because my response was really short. It was like, girl, it's going to be okay. We're going to talk about it. Relax. So when she texted me today, she said, yeah, your last email was basically telling me, child, sit down. But I mean, I think that that's definitely, it took me a minute to get to that place where I could tell somebody, child, relax, because I would have been excited with you. But through other things that I do where I express myself, or things that I've been through, or things I'm going through, and I'm very open on my podcast,
Right.
I've learned that it's okay. It's going to be okay. And it can seem vulnerable to talk about things that happen to you, but then when you finally let it out, you actually feel relieved, because usually there's a support circle around you that you didn't know existed. So that's why I was like, it's going to be okay. Whatever you're going through is going to resonate with someone else, and you're going to forge a community without even realizing that you did it. And just by being yourself, you create these bonds and these irreplaceable connections with people that you don't even know. That's the beautiful part, that you can make connections with people that you don't even know.
Yes.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Oh, I feel like Oprah. I feel like I need a book club now. That was nice.
Well, thank you so much for those of you who tuned in and who will watch at a later date. Again, welcome to season 2 of Chats with Chelsea. You're in store for an amazing season. Kelli Lemon will be on here. Anjali Moon. I have Nadia Solomon, who is on Showtime tonight. And so many amazing women literally across the globe who will be sharing their story, all with the hopes of inspiring you and for you to find that leader on the inside of you, because I know it's there and I want to help you find it and live it out. So have a great evening, and thank you so much for joining us for our first live episode.